Hi there, and thanks for tuning in. I am here today to help you solve one-step equations. This video is going to be a little more difficult than the last video I made because I am going to include negative numbers and I am not going to have those paper sacks to represent my variable. Okay, so the first one we are going to do is x plus 12 equals 20. Now, just looking at this, you might be able to do it in your head. It's what plus 12 is 20, but we need to show our work. So we are going to get rid of this 12 by subtracting 12. Sometimes when I start teaching kids how to solve equations, I have them draw a line where the equal sign is, because whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we also need to do on the other side of the equal sign. And it helps just to make it very clear when showing your work. So I am going to subtract 12, and these are going to cancel. 12 minus 12 is 0, and x plus 0 is just x, and that's what I'm trying to find out. I am trying to find out what x is. Okay, so I have x over here by itself now, and then 12 minus 20 is 8. And then I can always go back and double check. Is 8 plus 12 equal to 20? Yes, it is. Let's do another one. Okay, here we have 7 plus x equals 4. Now you might be thinking, well, what can I add to 7 to get 4? 7 is a bigger number than 4, but don't forget about your negative numbers. So I am going to do the same thing I did on my last problem, and you will see how to find the answer. I'm going to draw the line there on my equal sign, just so I remember anything I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do on the other side, because we have to keep them equal. Okay, so I'm going to subtract a 7 here, subtract a 7 here. These will cancel, and then I'm going to have x is equal to, what is 4 minus 7? So if you think about it, if you have $4 and you spend $7, you are going in debt. 4 minus 7 is negative 3, okay? And then we can also check our work. 7 plus a negative 3 would give us 4. Let's do another. Okay, here we have 7 equals x minus 18. Sometimes we have our x on the right side of the equal sign. Sometimes we have it on the left side of the equal sign. It really doesn't matter. You should be able to go back and forth. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw a line at my equal sign, and I want to get rid of this minus 18 by going plus 18. Whatever I do on that side, I do to the other side. These ones will cancel, and I am just going to be left with x, which is the goal. And then 7 plus 18 is 25, okay? X equals 25. We can also write it like this. Okay, and then is 25 minus 18, 7? Yeah, let's do another. Here we have 2 equals negative 6 plus x. I want to get rid of this negative 6. Negative 6 and minus 6 are essentially kind of like the same thing. So I'm going to add 6 to get rid of this. If you're $6 in debt, it is going to take you $6 to get out of debt. Okay, so I'm going to add 6 here to get rid of that. Okay, I'm remembering there's kind of a line down my equal sign, so I have to do the same things on both sides. Okay, so these cancel out, and I am left with just x, and 2 plus 6 is 8. And then I would always ask myself, is negative 6 in debt plus 8, $8, does that give me $2? And it does. We are going to keep going. All right, here we have 7x equals 35. Now, when there is a number and it's connected to the letter or the variable, that always means multiply, okay? So to get rid of multiply, we need to do the opposite, and we need to divide. So I show division like this, divide by 7, instead of writing out our divide sign by 7 because fractions mean divide. So this is just my quick way of doing it. If you want to write it like this to start off, you can, but I would get in the habit of doing it like this. So let me just show you something really quick. 7 divided by 7 is equal to 1. So after we do this, these are going to kind of cancel each other out, and we are left with 1x, which is just x. Okay, so that's why that cancels out. Timesing something by 7 and then dividing it by 7 gets rid of it. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing to this side. So I'm going to be left with x equals 35 divided by 7, which gives me 5. And I am going to check my work. Is 7 times 5 35? Yeah! Okay, another one coming. Here we have negative 24 equals 3x, or 3 times x. So just like the last problem, I want to get rid of that 3 times x by dividing by 3. So we divide by 3, divide by 3, these cancel, and we will just be left with x, and negative 24 divided by 3. Negative divided by a positive is going to give us a negative, and 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay, and I'm going to double check my work. 3 times negative 8 does give me negative 24, so I know I got it right. We're going to keep going. Okay, here we have x divided by 6 equals 7. And so many kids, when they see this problem, they think it looks really scary, but I promise you it's not. I could rewrite this exact problem like this. X divided by 6 equals 7. And you would probably know that we need to do the opposite and multiply by 6 to get rid of this dividing by 6. Well, this means that exact same thing, x divided by 6. Okay, so I usually go off here to the side and I'll go times 6, and then I'll usually go off to this side and go times 6. So these would cancel each other because we would essentially have 6 over 6x, and 6 over 6 is equal to 1. So we would have 1x, which is just equal to x. And that's kind of how that cancels. When you multiply any number by 6 and then go ahead and divide by 6, you're going to end up with that original number. It just kind of undoes each other, okay? So here we cancel, here we have 7 times 6, and 7 times 6 is 42. Okay, so we're going to have x equals 42. I am going to check my work. So instead of writing the x, I am going to pretend this is a 42, and I'm going to ask myself, what is 42 divided by 6? And yes, that's 7. Let's do another one like that. Okay, here we have negative 30 equals x divided by 2. So we want to get rid of that divided by 2, just like we did with the last problem. So I am going to multiply by 2. Okay, so I usually just write it out here like I said, and I'm going to multiply this by 2 because I have to keep my problems equal. Okay, these will cancel, and I am going to be left with x. Now 2 times negative 30. Remember, a negative times a positive is a negative, and 30 times 2 is 60. So I'm going to get negative 60 is equal to x, or x is equal to negative 60. You can write it either way. Now to check my work, I would say, what is negative 60 divided by 2? That's right, negative 30. Okay, just a couple more. Okay, so here we have negative 8x equals 2. So that means negative 8 times a number is going to give us only 2. Well, if you ever start off with this large of a number and you multiply by something and you get a smaller number, you've got to think that the answer is going to be a fraction, because the only way if we have a bigger number and end up with a smaller number, the only way to do that is by multiplying by a number less than 1, okay? So I'm just gonna follow my same steps that I've been doing, and I am going to divide by -8, divide by -8. These will cancel, and I'll have x equals, well, a positive divided by a negative is gonna give me a negative, and then 2 divided by 8 is 2/8. Okay, we're gonna keep it as a fraction. The only thing we need to do now is reduce it, okay? So 2/8 reduces to 1/4. And I know that because these are both even numbers and 2 goes into all even numbers, okay? Now we're kind of just reducing our fraction. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times, and we will end up with -1/4. If you typed this in a calculator and you did 2 divided by -8, you will get -0.25 as a decimal, but do not be afraid of those fractions, okay? Let's do one more problem. All right, here we have -x divided by 3 equals 1/2. So that means if we have a number and we split it into 3 groups, we're gonna get 1/2, okay? So I am going to multiply by 3. I also wanna get rid of this negative sign. So I am gonna multiply by -3 because a negative times a negative is a positive, and I wanna know what positive x is. I don't wanna know what negative x is. Okay, so I'm gonna multiply both sides by -3. Okay, on this side, these are gonna cancel, and I will just be left with x. Okay, and on this side, we've gotta remember when we multiply fractions, we wanna change this number to a fraction too, and I just multiply the numerators and then I multiply the denominators. So 1 times -3 is -3. And 2 times 1 is 2. So usually we would want to write this negative sign just out in front and not connected to one of the numbers. It's just like the proper way of writing something. So I would want to write it like this, -3/2 instead of connected up there. And then this could be one way to write our answer, or we can write it as a mixed number. So remember, 2/2 is equal to 1 whole, but we have 3/2. So we have -1 whole with a half left over, okay? So both of these answers are correct. This is just our answer as an improper fraction, and this is our answer as a mixed number. Okay, so I hope that helped. I'm gonna move on to 2-step equations next. If this video helped you at all, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and I am just waiting to help you with more math concepts.